another person here. Is there a way that you can just like zoom in? It's fine. Like,
Hey, how's it going?
well, it's kind of cold.
Well, hopefully more people show up.
Yeah.
There is some people also.
But it's good anyway you go.
Online.
No, this is a crop. This is Planet of the Apes. Just wondering where to put it.
Oh, I didn't know, I prefer not. That's where I'm on the board and, what does he search? I can do it. We do? But he's been around a long time.
Oh.
Oh, do you? Yes. Support. You see him all the time. Okay, yeah, he does. The guy can, he has the ability to move like that. Yeah, well, some women, yes, but he does. And he would bring a lot of sauce, so those two seats there. So I hadn't met Mary yet.
Oh, she did.
Oh, you're right.
Whoa.
That's it for you.
Marianne, nice to meet you. You're sitting with us down here.
You're not coming?
And Kate, I need you down here. Yes. And they have guests, like they have guests that can sit.
Okay.
So we can, so, and, well, it's meeting and for computers, and so you'll be able to do to the screen. So we need somebody sitting in the cool bus chair with Erica, because she's feeling very alone. So this is Kate O'Connell, Erica Carmen. So Erica's gonna help it and Kate did all the kids' and stuff.
So just it.
Please come closer, just closer, so we can be kind of like in a sala, in a living room with our family, with our community. These are not VIP, so please come closer to each other. Yes, come forward. You guys are welcome to come and join us closer.
I'm the first person.
All right.
I would have figured it out.
I know, pretty awesome.
Oh, Jim.
He's here.
Yeah, I know he's here. Wait until he's sitting down.
Senate beloved, and sorry. Do you have to sign them all of these?
No, we're just waiting for Jim. We're streaming this live, so there is some people connected and watching, so we're gonna be starting soon.
Thank you. Listen, when this flooring is like this, Alan, the
size?
You having a golf thing?
No, the thing is that when we removed the seats, there were these bolts in the concrete.
Okay.
We put this to cover it. And we're gonna use the bolts to then attach to put a stage. So right now, I need them to be covered.
I like it. But we are gonna do golf simulations in the other theaters.
Oh,
Just so we can use this there.
Ready?
Hey, Jim. We put you in the middle on the hot seat.
Where?
Right there.
Yeah.
You're the anchor. Yeah, be careful.
Welcome, everyone. We're very excited today to say goodbye to Real Deal and welcome SALA. And so we're very, very excited to, we have very special people here with us. We have Leslie Linke here, Marianne Beard, Jane O'Donnell, Sammy Owens. And Leslie is from the Los Alamos Historical Society. Marianne is from Real Deal. Jane O'Donnell is from the Real Deal. And Sammy Owens is from LA Angels. And of course, I forgot Alan. Alan is from SALA. Sorry, Alan Science. So we are very excited to be here. We're very grateful that you're here today. And this is a very special day for us to, I forgot to actually talk about myself. I'm Patricia Burnside, and I'm going to be the new event coordinator for SALA. And so I am thrilled to start doing events for the community, for the kids, for the youth, and for the lab, and for whoever wants to come and enjoy time with us. And so let's just welcome our panel and give them a big applause. And we're going to start with Leslie.
Awesome.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. I'm really excited that you're here. I'm sorry to say goodbye to Real Deal, but I'm so excited that we have a theater here again. I am, like Patty said, I'm with the Los Alamos Historical Society. I'm on the Historical Society Board of Directors. I'm also a docent and a tour guide for the Los Alamos History Museum. So that's where I come from. I think I want to congratulate Alan and his team for this facility, and I'm so excited for it. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the history of theaters in Los Alamos. And it's not working.
Of course.
You want to see if you can make it?
Let me just stop it here and see.
That'll do it, I bet. There it goes. Okay, in the beginning. I'm not going to talk about the history of theaters in the world, but I was recently in Athens, and I want to share a little story with you. Now, I don't know if this story is true, so, I can't imagine how they would know that this is true, but when I heard this story, it really got me to thinking about how this actually might have happened. This is a picture of a theater that is near the Acropolis. And our tour guide said, I want to tell you how theater was born. He said back, like 50,000 years ago or something. A long time ago, there was a parade in Athens. And, there was all these people walking down the street carrying things, and they were chanting. Okay, so this happened for several years. And then at one point, the crowd watching the parade chanted back. And he said that was dialogue. And when there became some public dialogue, that's when the idea for public performance with dialogue began. And now, maybe that's not true, but I found that to be a really fascinating story that really made me start to think about maybe that's true. How did theater get born? But we're not really going to talk all the way back then. We're going to start. Let me just talk about the eras of our Los Alamos history. And it's a little skewed, but you guys will get the point. So at the museum, we talk about 6 different eras of our history, of Los Alamos history. We start with the ancestral Pueblo people, the homesteaders in Los Alamos, followed by the Los Alamos Ranch School, Manhattan Project, of course. Most people come to Los Alamos with the idea of the Manhattan Project. We talk about the Cold War, and then we talk about Los Alamos today. Okay, so those are the kind of eras that we talk about in our history museum. Now, I would like to encourage you to come to the History Museum. Residents are free. And I would also encourage you to sign up for one of our 11 o'clock guided walking tours, because you will learn so much. It's a surprise how much you'll learn. I'm not going to talk about our ancestral Pueblo people. I'm not going to talk about the homesteaders. Now, we can imagine the legends of, storytelling around campfires and things like that. I don't know that there was any kind of formal presentation, play type things during those periods of time, but we can imagine that there is. We're going to start with the Los Alamos Ranch School. The Los Alamos Ranch School was founded in 1917 by Ashley Pond Jr. Yes, Ashley Pond. So over here is actually Ashley Pond, but we call it Ashley Pond. It was an all-boys school. The boys were ages 12 to 17. They were mostly rich kids from the East. The founder kind of believed that rich kids from the East were getting weak and were immature and stuff, so he thought he'd bring them out here. He would start a school based on the Boy Scouts, toughen these kids up. It was a first-rate college preparatory school, and then they had outside activities, and they had a lot of community involvement. So these kids learned to really participate in their community, and they were always building fences and farming and taking care of animals and things like that. Kids that came here were left with significant experience. The ranch school did have a drama did have a drama group, excuse me. They were called the Co-Shares. They presented plays once a year. Sometimes the masters, which is the teachers of the Ranch School, participated, were part of the cast. They often invited people from Santa Fe, and including girls from the Brownmore School. The Brownmore School was an equivalent school for girls in Santa Fe. And as a matter of fact, those girls were often here for dances, and the boys from our ranch school went down to Santa Fe to participate in their dances. So that was kind of the ranch school. Does anybody know the woman Peggy Pond Church? She was Peggy Pond was Ashley Pond's daughter, and then she married Firmer Church, who was a master at the school, and she was often the accompaniment for these plays. Okay, so that's kind of the Los Alamos Ranch School, sort of formal, but I couldn't find any pictures of it, so that's why there's no picture here. Theater number 1 was the first real theater in Los Alamos. It was built in 1943 by the government. Now, let me back up just a sec. Now, there was evidence in all my research. Sometimes these theaters were spelled Theater, and sometimes they were spelled with an RE at the end. I couldn't find any consistency, so throughout I have spelled it with an ER at the end. But there may be, you may find evidence where I've spelled it wrong, but that's okay. So I apologize for that. It was located on the south side of what is now Central Park Square. So over here, and it faced this way. So imagine, what's that bike shop over there? And there was a doctor's office over there, all of that stuff over there, but it faced this way. So that's where theater number 1 was located. As it says here, I have the prices listed, but that's what they were raised to in 1947. So yay. It was renamed the Hill Theater at some point after World War II. Now later I'm going to talk about a Hill Theater, but it is a different building, so keep that in mind. This theater closed in 1950, and it was purchased and moved and used as a church somewhere. So that's theater number 1, and that's what it looked like. It's a big building. Now, there was some evidence that this building was only used to show movies. And then I found a whole bunch of newspaper articles that said that all kinds of things happened in this building. But it's a nice big building. Theater number 2 was located near where the current VFW is at. Okay? I did not find the exact time that it was built, but the 2 theaters were really in Los Alamos at the same time. And this theater was used for a variety of purposes, as you can see. There was a church, there was an altar on one end, there was a movie screen on the other. There was also a stage for plays and concerts and things like that. And there was space for dances and conferences and things like that. There was a basketball court. And it appeared, in my research, it showed that this building was actually used for the schools, for the school, the Manhattan Project School, not the Ranch School, but the Manhattan Project School, as their PE classes. That's where their PE classes were at. And you can see by my little reprint of a newspaper article, both theaters were running at the same time. Okay? And you can see the variety of movies we had up here at the time. Okay, this is a picture of the singing group, and that was in quotes and all caps and everything, so that must have been their official name. This is a picture of the singing group giving a presentation in theater number 2. That is Mr. Robert Dyke. If anybody knows that name, I didn't. Let me point out that residents during the Manhattan Project were extremely talented in the arts, especially music, musicians, singers, Some were very talented actors and producer type people, and painting and things like that. So in 1943, it quickly became known that they would need to provide the scientists and families during the Manhattan Project with these outlets. So that's where these things were kind of born. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Los Alamos Little Theater. The Little Theater Group was the first organization in Los Alamos, and it was also born as a result of, first of all, boredom. Everybody was bored, but that talent that was in the community, okay? Right About Face was the first presentation they made in early 1944. People that joined the Los Alamos Theater Group, the Little Theater Group, were charged 25 cents to just be members of the group, okay? Now the next bits, patrons to watch shows were charged 35 cents, 20 cents for soldiers, and WACs, Women Army Corps, okay? So that's what that means. During 1944 and 1945, they presented 10 plays, so that was really big. One of the plays that they presented during that time was Arsenic and Old Lace. And Robert Oppenheimer was actually in the play, but he didn't want to have to memorize any lines, so he played a corpse. I can just imagine this. Anyway, now I don't know this for sure, and if anybody knows for sure, I would love to get verification of this. But I believe that a later director named Charlie McMillan also played a corpse in a remake of Arsenic and Old Lace. Does anybody know that for sure? I know that they talked about that, but at that point I had kind of gotten out of it. They did present all over town, but at some point, here soon, let me show you. At some point, they were able to get a facility of their own. In 1971, the county was ready to tear down what was the East Cafeteria. It was built during the Manhattan Project, and they said it was time to tear it down. But the Little Theater said, oh, no, or the Little Theater Group said, oh, no, that could be a facility for us. So the county gave them the $6,000 that it was going to cost to tear it down, and they used that money, added to it, and turned it into what we now know of as the Performing Arts Center, okay? 10 Nights in a Barroom, a melodrama, was the first play presented in the new Performing Arts Center. There it goes. Okay, so let me get caught up here in my notes, because at this point, the Center Theater was built in 1948. It opened in April 1948, and it is the theater. Let me make sure, because a lot of these things were all at the same time. So how many of you remember the theater that was over here, and next door on one side was the bowling alley, and on the other side was Sparky's? So a bunch of you know, so that was the Center Theater, okay? So I said there was a bowling alley, and then Parati's Soda Bar was next door to that. Parati's, of course, if anybody knows our history, Parati's Clowns. He had a floral shop. The Parati's were a big family in Los Alamos at the time. The first movie that was shown in that theater was Sitting Pretty. And as I said, the bowling alley and the theater, there was one screen with 970 seats. So it was this huge facility. They changed the name a couple times. I remember it being the High Society Cinema. I don't remember, I sort of remember Translux, but I do remember High Society. And then it closed in 2001. This is the only picture I could find of it from the outside back in the day. This is what it looks like now. The picture on the right is what it looks like now. There is no resemblance to the fact that there was ever a facility there at all. And I don't know, it's really sad. I did take some wonderful pictures of this area because of the fall leaves and everything, but it made me sad. This is the Hill Theater. It was built in 1951. the newborn community of Los Alamos, theoretically, Los Alamos could have closed after the Manhattan Project finished, but it didn't. Ray Bradbury did a huge effort to make this a real community. And as a matter of fact, when at the museum, a lot of times I'll have people that come into the museum and they say, I didn't know Los Alamos was a real town. You mean there's a laboratory that's still here? So it's interesting that people don't know that we continue. But the Hill Theater, the county decided that we really needed to get a new good theater, so they made that theater. On the right is the picture I took that picture just a couple of weeks ago of the of CB Fox. Okay, so this is the Hill Theater. This is a newspaper clipping that I found announcing a movie that's being shown. So it opened in 1951. It was also very, very large. They charged adults 39 cents, can you imagine? Students 25, students 25 and children were 10 cents. So the good old days. The county really wanted a new modern facility in the middle of town. So that's when this theater was born. It closed in less than 4 years, and it became a department store. Now, I'd like to know if anybody knows the answer to this. The only department store I knew about was Clement and Benner. Now, if it was called something different right after it closed, I would love to know that, but I couldn't find any evidence of that. And later it became CB Fox. Okay, and now it's closed. How many of you have been into Clement Benner or CB Fox? So a bunch of you. So didn't it look, you could imagine the theater. The theater, of course, was back in the back with the shoe department, okay? So that's Clement Benner back in the day. Now, I don't have the date that this picture was taken, but that's kind of what it looked like. It's an old picture. And then that is inside CB Fox, and I was kind of hoping to show you how you could really kind of see a theater in there, right? You can see way back in the back of the picture, that's where the movies were shown. I love that old department store. Who remembers the White Roxy Theater? Yes. So the White Roxy Theater, so I've listed it had several owners through the years. It opened in 1972. The first movie was Trap on Cougar Mountain, and here's a little picture of it. One of the things I really liked was that Ken and Keith Sherwood, they were 4 and 5 year olds, won the naming contest, and as such, they got 25 tickets each to this theater, so that's cool. It was one screen as well, but it was fewer seats, so it was smaller. It was the first fully automated theater, 16 millimeter, that later became a 35 millimeter theater. It cost them $15,000 to buy. So that was really cool, plus some operating costs, but back in the old days, that's cool. Some other people purchased it in 1975, 1978. The name changed a couple times, and it closed in 1987, December of 1987. Now, let me share a little personal story. So I had a 6-year-old son, and I was pregnant with twins, and it was like, they were born in May, and this was like in April. And this theater presented He-Man. Remember He-Man? And I took my oldest son to this theater, and I was like this, and that's my only memory of the White Roxy Theater. Anyway, that was in April of 1987, so it closed soon after that. And then we have the Real Deal Theater. We all loved the Real Deal Theater. It opened in 2003 with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which is what we're going to show today. And we're so excited. I'm so excited. It was big and new and had 4 screens, 476 seats total. And you can talk about this later if you want, but it was built with insulated concrete forms, which I guess was a new big thing at that time. It did host some special events up here, including the Brothers, Los Alamos premiere. Do you remember Brothers, when Brothers was filmed up here? And Only the Brave, they had another premiere of that. They also showed several documentaries But the one of note is the safe side of the fence. So in my spare time, I'm gonna go back and see if I can find that. Final show times were in March of 2020, as we can imagine, because of the COVID pandemic. And then they ended up permanently closing it in June after 17 years of serving this community. And you know, part of it was COVID, but part of it was the streaming services and all of that stuff. They just couldn't stay financially viable. Now, you guys may have something else to say about that, but that's what I remember as a resident here. And that's a picture of it that I found online. Didn't find many pictures of it, by the way. But it was a great facility. My kids are in the business, and so we would come, I bet, once a week and see movies here. So when they closed, it was like, it was very sad. So I want to thank you on behalf of the Los Alamos Historical Society. Again, I would love to see you visit the museum, take our tours, because you will be surprised at what you learn. I was having dinner with some friends I graduated with many, many years ago, and they really didn't know about the Los Alamos Ranch School. And so, you know, you'd be surprised at what you'll learn, okay? Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? All right. Well, thank you very much. There we go. Who is this next?
So Jim, you know, I heard Leslie. Oh, you wanna?
Doesn't matter. No, at the very end.
Okay.
Start at the beginning.
So I have the other video here. Okay. So we have some pictures on the back. You haven't seen those, but those are from this. So if you want to tell us a little bit about some of the stories of his legacy.
I'll try. It's really about being my dad's legacy. I think that's the whole story, because my parents came here in 1950, right after my dad. Actually, I think he had to go back and finish his thesis defense, but they came in 50. But my mom was a big person in this town. She worked for, as a secretary, she worked as a cyclotron operator, garden club, brownies, she was very involved, and of course Marydale Realty. And so she came at the exact right time when the laboratory, the government was selling their buildings. All of those houses that they had were rented by the people that lived here anyway. So she came in at the right time and was able to both buy some and sell some. And anyway, so she was a big person. So my dad was a bit in her shadow, I think, in his mind. He was a division leader. He was a big-time scientist. He was not in the background really at all, but in his mind, he felt like she was much more community driven. Anyway, so my mom got sick, and my dad was trying to take care of her and the business and everything, and asked the O'Donnells. Jim is my brother-in-law, married to my sister Kate, and my family, to move back here and help him out. So Jim was a broker at that time and did a lot of the selling of rentals and things like that. And I got my license. And anyway, Kate and my dad and I were all sitting in the office one day, and we had recently gone through a lot of drama trying to get this piece of property back, because it had been sold, and then the partners that owned the other building were suing them because they wanted to put something here that was not really compatible. Anyway, so we were basically suing ourselves. Anyway, the only way to get rid of the whole problem was to purchase out or buy out the partners and purchase this property back. It was originally a property that had a Sunt building on it, a fourplex, I think. but it was basically a path where people walked, and it's where we had our garbage cans. But it was, had a lot of trees, people walked through there all the time. Anyway, so we were sitting in the office trying to decide what we should do, and Kate and I were born and raised here and had gone to the high society since we were little, and it had closed roughly 2 years before. So Kate and I dispute who thought of it first, but it came up that it would be great to put a movie theater here. So my dad, who was an Army brat when he was a kid, lived in Panama for 3 years and owned a set of golf clubs. And so the soldier, he was a kid, right, 9, 10, the soldiers would borrow those, and in return, he would get their movie tickets. So he went to the movies every day as a kid for a few years, and he was very much into movies. And so he was all over this idea, and we did a lot of research, and it is not a money-making proposition, but it was something he really wanted to be his legacy, and I think he was very, very proud of it. He came really often to the movies. He had the front designed right here, this part for the wheelchairs, because my mom was in a wheelchair at that point, and that was to be the best seats in the house. And so that's why those are front and center and not all the way front. So anyway, that's how we got started. There were some people with Translux. What was his name? Brian Mercer. I've been trying to think of it for weeks. Anyway, Brian Mercer, who's since passed away, but he was really helpful and did a lot of the managerial stuff to get us started. And we learned through him and the Brandt family, Matt Brandt Sr. and Jr., who still works as a booking agent, worked for us as a booking agent until we closed. We closed on St. Patrick's Day. I remember that. So, but it's very difficult to make money in the movies because the studios require the lion's share of the ticket price, and people can watch movies at home. They can watch them on their, just like the arcade died kind of overnight when people started playing games on their phones and at home. So but it's so many. We were, of course, crushed because it was like, our dream. And but we had so many nice comments online. Speaking of which, if you type in realdealtheater.com, it still shows up. But I'm not paying for it. I tried to get rid of it, but it still shows up. That's the host, nobody's getting paid for it. It's just there. It has all the wrong information. I don't know. But anyway, it's that we had a lot of people say very nice things about they met their husband or wife here in their first date, or they had great memories of bringing their kids here, things like that. So I think it filled its part in history for the community, which is what my dad wanted it to do. He passed away in fall of 2020, not from COVID, which we were very proud of because we kept it away from him, and he was 95. So that's my story.
There's nothing better than a group of people that are all sitting in the theater watching a big movie all together, with all the different points of views, and you don't get that when you're sitting on your couch watching it on the
it's a complete experience.
It's an experience.
It's like going to a live game.
Yeah.
You can watch football all day, and you go to the game and you're involved.
I would love to see it come back where people actually dressed up. Making events and things. There we go.
We're gonna have senior nights. We're gonna have everything for everyone.
want to warn you, someone will ask you at least once a year to play the
Rocky Horror.
Rocky Horror.
I'm an owner, it will be here. I don't care. Drop it on the ground.
Well, the problem is,
You gotta clean up on it.
it's,
I did it plenty of times.
it'll destroy the screen.
Oh, no.
I mean, we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars.
Ouch.
So we never did it. But that's why. But yeah, I understand the dream, but it's not really very feasible. Anyway, go ahead.
Want me to talk?
You.
Okay. A little bit of takeoff on that. Movie theaters in the United States really became popular in the early 20th century because of one reason. And it started in Texas. And it was so blistering hot that this guy built this big evaporative cooler in the basement of his theater. And he created air conditioning throughout the whole theater. And everybody flocked to it. I don't know what the prices were, but they were pretty cheap. And you went in that theater and you were cool. I forgot what I was going to say after that. Anyway, it was a great idea. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So that's what started, and that, of course, started during the summertime when it was really hot. So that's when introducing blockbuster movies came about, was during the summer. And to this day, we still have them. Your big movies come out July 4th, right? During the summer. Then Christmas, later on, that became popular. But anyway, that was the first thing. I just wanted to say that. So, a little bit of hands-on experience. We hired Brian Mercer and Translex Theaters to manage our theater. In 2003, we gave him a one-year contract. Very nice people. I like them all. In fact, I still talk to Matt all the time. But they had a lot of theaters, and we were up in the hill, and they really couldn't manage ours properly. So we let them go at the end of that first year contract. And we were all sitting in the office talking about what the hell we were going to do. And who's going to run the theater now? And I was like, I'll do it for a little bit. Well, that turned into 15 years. So I was kind of like here every day, hands-on type thing. But Lord of the Rings was our first show, and it was right near Christmas, I think. Maybe the 23rd or something like that, 2003. All our projectors were filmed. And the film came in 500-foot spools. And Lord of the Rings, I remember, that's going to fall. That's a spool. And you had to splice all these together. Lord of the Rings was 9 of these. Not only that, you had to splice in the light cues and the projector cues, telling when to turn on, when to turn on the light, when to shut it off. Lights go mid, lights go dark. These are all silver cues that you put on manually. Before you built that, you had to decide on your trailers. And these you put on the beginning of the film. Some call them previews, but the movie word is trailers, right? You had to be careful putting these on. This one happens to be Lone Survivor rated, dark R. Now you put this trailer on Bambi, and you're in a world of trouble. You'll hear about it in the community. So there's all these things, and we had to build these things in a rush. And get them on the platter before they went in the projector. And I remember the day that Lord of the Rings opened. We had like barely got the carpets and the projectors in. We were just finished like the day before. And I don't know how many theaters we had Lord of the Rings in. Probably 2 or 3, but there was 400 and something people here. And I went downstairs from the projection booth and I looked out the front window and the line went down Central. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I hope this projector works. And all our cues and all our splicings, if you splice one off, it's off for the rest of the film. Anyway, we got lucky and we had some help and we made it run that day. And so that was our first day. We hired over 100 high school students over the years. They all said it's the best job they ever had. I'm still in contact with most of them. I only had to fire one out of everyone. All those years, they were such good kids. And it was just so much fun. You know, I was in different businesses before, and when you made a mistake, it could have been problems. But when you made a mistake at the movie theater, would you like a free ticket? Would you like 3? It was all good, you know. Eventually, something happens, a projector breaks down or something. You have to send, 100 people home, and that's not fun. But with the help of Mary Ann and my wife, Katie, who I've got to talk about this. She ran the pre-screen show. And if any of you guys remember that, it was all the ads before the actual feature began. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Goodyear Tire, they all wanted us to run their ads on our screen. We declined all the national ads. All of our ads, all of Katie's ads were local. CB Fox, the county, we used local citizens and lots of kids for actors and actresses. And people came to watch those pre-screen ads. It lasted about 20 minutes. And who knows, does anybody know anybody who was in one of those ads?
Kelly.
Yeah, oh, Kelly, yeah.
We all saw
Myers.
Kelly ads.
She had a rap song.
Oh, Kelly. Kelly Myers, I couldn't think of her last name.
Yeah, we had
Maybe
a
it
bunch
was
of
the
kids.
wheels going around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad was in.
I actually found some DVDs in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I was watching them.
Oh, but they're all local.
Yeah.
We need to bring those back.
Yeah.
At first, they kept putting me in them until finally I said, no more. So that was one of the most special parts of making it a local theater. This is my wife over here, by the way. Stand up.
Sorry. Thank you, Kate.
And there's so much more, but
No,
anything else?
No, that's perfect.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Dean, thank you for all those times that you were able to put movies for us.
And wandering by all the time and helping us get everything up and going and giving us all the knowledge and helping pass things along.
I came many times with my kids and many great memories. And Sonny, do you wanna?
Well, we just fixed the soda machine, so I'm not
Oh,
done.
thank
Right.
You're welcome, anytime. So I'm Sammy Owens, and I'm partnered with Alan in LA Angels Investors LLC. And we bought the building, And then Alan runs SALA, the company that's renting the building from LA Angels. So all I am is like the silent or not so silent partner. And Alan's doing all the work, and he's made me laugh when you're talking about stressing about people, walking the line all the way down Central. I've seen Alan be a little stressed time and again. We had the midnight movies for the homecoming dance, and we stressed all week long trying to get this theater open. And Mrs. Burnside, I'm sorry, all you guys, and Eric, getting the fire occupancy permit like basically the night before. And I had my husband up here cutting exterior tiles and things to get new tiles replaced. So I've seen Alan take on that role of stressed person for you. So you're not alone anymore. And how I got involved was I was a big movie buff, loved it, and the PSAs were awesome. I mean, I love coming early to watch that. And I'm actually really hoping to get the bus ad back and are showing it, because it's still the same bus system, right? Yeah, so hopefully we'll get those back and get more local stuff getting recorded, because everybody loves those. I had a whole bunch of people that I talked to, everybody I talked to wanted to bring the theater back, because we thought, surely somebody's going to buy it, reopen the theater. We knew it wasn't really a money-making business, the way the streaming services and stuff are going. But we thought, well, I had a bunch of people together, and we were going to do like the Green Bay Packers. We were going to buy the theater, like 40 of us, and bring it back just so we'd have movies to go to, because we'd really like to get out and not sit on the couch all alone, because definitely the feedback and being there, the experience is big. And then I read in the newspaper that the county was going to buy it, and I love the county. I'm not trying to say anything bad about the county, but they were going to gut it and turn it into a tween center. I was like, well, that is not good. So I went to the Small Business Development Center, and I ran into Lauren McDaniels, and she was awesome. And she says, yeah, that's good, but wouldn't it be better for you to talk to somebody like this gentleman I have who's kind of knowledgeable about putting stuff like that, has a business, and you can partner with him, and just a couple of you could do it. It might be easier that way. And I said, oh, okay, that's great. So she put me in touch with Alan, and I met with Alan and a couple of people who were thinking about partnering on it. And Alan had this whole very mature, amazing plan, including architect drawings and everything, because he'd been wanting to buy it and had just been trying to get investors to put it together. And I'm like, let's go. So we got to the finish line. Unfortunately, it was just me and Alan. So he and I, we were sitting in the movie theater signing all the papers, going, did you know this? Did you know this? Because we probably hadn't done our homework. So we were signing papers going, wow, okay, but they let us do it. So thank you, 50th Century Bank, for taking a chance with us. But Alan's vision for this community center is amazing. We think it'll be sustainable. It's going to be showing first-run movies, but all kinds of wonderful stuff. A really great place. I'm a big board game fanatic. I didn't even know that Smith's had like monthly board game nights out on their patio. Yeah, and if I'd known, I'd have been there. But we're going to be doing, board games, and I have a billion board games. Erica can attest to the fact I'm a big board game nut. So we'll have setups where you can come in and do chess and board games and just all kinds of good all-age social activities and really good setups for that, as well as all four theaters set up differently to do different things. So Alan's done a bunch of work putting that kind of information together, and unfortunately you'll see my face here again.
I'd like to second that. Just the few things that I've heard about your vision and your plans, this is going to be a fantastic place. So I encourage you all to, if you're planning an event or if you've got something coming up, bring it here, because they're going to be able to do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And he's a technology guy, so he'll be able to get all kinds of things done.
Yeah, every time I talk to him, I
fantastic.
get more and more excited, because he's such an idea guy, and I'm just thrilled to have a cool, fun place to hang out. So that's my goal, is a hangout place. So that's all I got. Go ahead.
I have a funny thing to say is that Eric was up getting some pictures from me the other day, and I said, who's going to be speaking? And so he said, I forgot your name.
Leslie.
Leslie and Jim and Sammy and you. And I said, all I could think of was we had this like 12-year-old kid that was working for us named Sammy, and he was really good. I'm going, what is Sammy? Anyway, so no.
No, so, it's so nice that we, thank you, Leslie, for putting that, because I wanna, we're gonna show a video in a moment. It's already almost 12. So I wanna show that video, but, seeing how the history of Los Alamos and how these theaters were used, and then all that hard work that Jim, thanks to the legacy, of your dad, of Mary, that now we can continue this, and that's kind of what I want to show you. So I hope this video explains a little bit better what we're gonna try to do, and then we can open for some questions. So let me see if I can do this.
And we'll call it a PSA with the local actor. We probably could have used Kate's direction.
No, she did great.
Alan did.
She did amazing. So we're gonna have the debut of Sammy on the big screen.
And Alan did tell me costume for Christian Day. That's why I'm dressed up, because I thought it was a Halloween costume day. So we loved it. Yay.
Hi, I'm Sammy Owens, and we're so happy to have you back at the old movie theater, in this space that has been part of countless memories over the years. And we're excited to open the doors again to our friends, our families, and our community. We would love to give you a sneak peek of our plans for the local theater. So to give you some context, let me recap a bit of our town's cinema history. Movie watching has always been a part of our mountain community. Tracing back to the Manhattan Project, Los Alamos started with 2 theaters. One theater showed the latest movies, while the second one became the main venue for social gatherings, such as dances, plays, concerts, lectures, even church meetings. Our SALA Event Center concept grew from these early roots. We think it's important to remember our community's history and the iconic theaters that came and went over the years. These included the Center Theater, the White Roxy Theater, the Hill Theater, and of course our personal favorite, the treasured Real Deal Theater, that closed in 2020 at the start of the pandemic. Now, recognizing our community's need for cinema and movie watching, we want to continue with the historic multi-use space concept, melding it with the technological leaps happening every day. Now, using these modern tools, we can bring new, improved experiences for interactive art, live theater, presentations, dances, augmented reality, virtual simulations for practicing golf and other sports, streaming sports events, gaming. So many things are possible. It's up to you as a community to let us know what you like, and we can bring it in. So with that introduction, we're excited to share with you our vision for SALA and how we will reimagine all 4 theaters. So, let's go. We are keeping all 4 theaters, and we are reimagining them to serve different purposes. We're naming them after the theaters that came before. The first theater, which we're calling the Real, is the one that you're seated in today. It is the answer to everyone's biggest question. Will we be showing new movies, including ones like Oppenheimer, when it is released next year? The short answer is yes. We plan to show a lot of first-run movies, and we're hoping to bring you the worldwide premiere of Oppenheimer. We are mostly leaving the seating alone in this theater, but we did remove the first couple of rows. This will allow us to also bring live events into this theater in addition to those movies. Now, SALA's second theater, the Social Center, will be a unique event space. This cinema will have lounge-type seating, table seating, and other things making it perfect for friendly gatherings, including private or community events. We will offer a nostalgic opportunity for residents to enjoy their favorite movies on the big screen, as well as bringing in independent films. As a community-based cinema, SALA will seek direction from its members for the programming. Think of being able to watch your favorite movie again on the big screen, but we invite you to think bigger. We will be able to stream performances like the Super Bowl, TV series finales, the London Ballet, the Met Gala, heck, even WWF wrestling, if you like. The third theater, the Roxy, will be a deluxe live event hall. There will be a large enough stage for community theater, accompanied with premium stage lighting. There will still be a theater screen, but this event hall will also have video recording with specialized audio equipment. The seating capacity will be reduced slightly to accommodate plush recliner seating. This space will be perfectly tailored for community theater, live concerts, award ceremonies, business functions, or a fancy film premiere. Now, our final space, the Hill Augmented Theater, is what makes SALA a real events attraction. Imagine this room leveled with all of the seating removed and modern VR tech such as projection mapping, VR headsets, multi-channel headphones, and projectors. It would be a room of endless possibilities, from virtual golf, silent discos, immersive art exhibitions, to large group seating events like receptions, fundraisers, dances, birthday parties, and more. And it will still have its theater screen fully functional. Now, as you exit the theater, we will be reimagining the lobby. SALA's lobby will be sleek and inviting. It will be comfortable seating, rotating art displays. There will be projection mapping of the whole interior. That means any theme that you can imagine can be tailored to your event and projected throughout. There could be holiday decorations, things for birthday parties. You can even have movie characters. They're animated and greeting you and your guests. Food vendors are already waiting for the doors to open, and we'll have a rotating selection of vendors offering local foods as well as foods from across the state. Refreshments, tickets, and merchandise can be purchased directly from your smartphone, so you can spend more time socializing and less time waiting. Now, outside, we've done a lot of work, and we plan to make an outdoor seating area and a stage. We will have food trucks to complement the outdoor events. Later, we hope to expand it upwards. The possibility of building a rooftop deck for that gorgeous panoramic view is a big part of our future plans.
So join us in making SALA a community gathering space for the traditional, unique, and extraordinary experiences. Thank you.
Well, I guess a lot easier with the video to explain what is SALA. So I hope you guys like it. I don't know, so it's already 12. I don't know if you guys have any questions or comments or anything. Yes.
What's the timeline? I mean, what do you estimate for, I mean, you're already doing some events, but what about when do you think you're gonna start showing movies?
Is so the reason that we put this event today is because we want to start on Monday on renovations on the lobby with the hope to start on December 1st. So we have a schedule already of events for December that we will be announcing soon. But so we will start in a phase starting December 1st. Well, any?
Can I mention one thing?
Yes, go.
So, the History Museum, now that I've done this presentation, it will be part of this as well. We're going to create a rotating gallery for movies and shows that were filmed up here or about here. And this idea was born when the Oppenheimer movie came here to film. So that's why I'm wearing this shirt today, and I don't know if you all saw the back of it. They came, they saw, they filmed. So that's, I'm wearing this shirt, in honor of that Oppenheimer movie that's coming here. So I just wanted to add that. So another reason to visit the museum someday.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
I'd like to say one thing. I'd like to just point to Alan here.
Yeah, so come here again so the microphones can pick the sound that for people that are listening.
They can hear him here.
Yes.
All right, buddy, come here. Come on in. So I just want to congratulate him for having the brass to do this. I mean, everybody else. Congratulations, and I thank you, and my family thanks you too for turning it back into an entertainment center instead of a lab joint. Oh, there, and Sam too. I thought you were.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention a little bit that Zaira Villalobos is our UNM intern, and she is going to be in charge of the grand opening in December. So just so you guys know who she is. No pressure on Zaira. And by the way, we're very grateful, to do this with UNMLA, and I think Brittany. She left. She was here with us today. So.
Thank you so much.
What time does she start?
Oh, you have it right. Oh, you have it right here?
Well, this one will control the
Oh, yeah.
So,
How you doing? I didn't even know you were still.
oh, yeah, no. I just want to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The last I'm just gonna let
I possibly.
You can do it without a schedule too. Yeah. Schedules are good when you have 3 or 4 meetings a day, but if you just.
That's true, yeah. That's how I'm kind of doing it right now, but I'm going to go with the schedule. Yeah, the assistant.
I'm gonna put these back out there for you.
He's gonna take some pictures. We can take it later. Just leave
Oh,
it
okay.
there. Thank you so much.
Sorry, that was fun.
And we film all this.
Who are we talking? Hey, how are you?
Report, we're gonna present it.
And I have the 29th? What do I have?
It's for the 25th, but I read my, it's good for the 20th, and our son was born on the 20th.
Aha, so there you go. You missed it.
Okay, well, the first movie we showed on December 19th, because December 20th, we didn't get tickets for the first day, we had tickets for the second day, and we would have had the baby.
So I wonder where I got that date from. You know, it's out there somewhere.
December 19th, 2003, was our first showing.
Well, and it's Norris Bradbury, not Ray Bradbury. I was going, as soon as I said I went Ray. Did you saw it on, that doesn't sound right.
Thank you for that. I'm gonna write that down. I knew it was close to it.